Hi,
Hi. Um,
let's talk.
let's start the thing.
Okay,
Here is the slides. It's very high budget,
here's
as you
this
could tell by the Adobe
very
stock.
high Adobe stock.
I think I spelt this
Very
right.
high.
Myers-Briggs introduction, yay.
Yay!
Okay, here's the
So
first.
okay, yeah, go on.
Here's the first slide. What is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI? The MBTI is a list of 16 different personalities made to accurately resemble 16 types of people. It was made by Myers and Briggs, they don't matter, based on a model of cognitive functions, types of procedures in your head, like the different things you do, right? By
Yeah,
Carl Jung,
yay,
notable figure in psychology, but you don't need to know about him. So essentially, he also doesn't matter.
yeah,
You got it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Next slide. This is a slide.
Nice.
Next slide. Okay.
Okay.
So, what does an MBTI type look like? The types are formed from acronyms. Can you see my mouse, by the way?
Yes, I can.
The types are formed from acronyms. I think I might be able to get like a glowy one. Oh, turn on the pen. No, yeah. The types are formed from acronyms. Oh yeah, the pen works. I didn't. That was completely unplanned. To make an MBTI type, pick one of the two letters on the rows for each column. All of these make more sense with the cognitive functions. So, just for now, I'm just going to show you what the letters stand for. The I stands for introverted, right?
Yeah.
This usually means the type is an introvert, but it's phrased pretty bad. It can also mean other things as well, right? Like that's not the main
Okay.
meaning. It usually means that they're an introvert, right? Do you know what an introvert is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think everyone does.
I think most people do, but sometimes I do double check. Um, I'm going to go straight down in a column. Sens-
Okay.
Sensing. This is a perceiving function. It's a way of seeing data, right? So you're sensing when, um, like, let's say I noticed that, like, I can't point at things, that poster, right?
Yeah,
That's sensing what's around me, right?
yeah,
And you can also sense with memory as well. Like, let's say I just remembered something really vividly, right? That's also sensing. Okay, does that
yeah.
make sense? So it's kind of uh, a, a physical remembery thing, like a when you actually notice details and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thinking. And I, I'm going to go into more detail on what this means, but basic, basically, it's all you need to remember for now is that if it's if it's got thinking in it, then it's judging. And if it's got sensing in it, it's perceiving. And this probably sounds a bit confusing at first, but if you could just remember these two things, are related to these two things, does that work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that works.
Perceiving, you'll know what this means later. Oh, I've gone over it in pen. I uh,
Okay.
I'm trying to erase that and can't. I've erased everything. So yeah, and how you make one is you go down you go down and pick one of these two on each side, right? It's like
Okay.
it could be ISTP,
Yeah.
INTJ. I should probably cover what this column means now, right?
Yeah.
So, wait, hang on. I'm going to quickly underline the important words for each thing, right? Um, yeah. So, the E stands for extroverted, right?
Yeah.
So I introverted, E extroverted.
Hmm.
The N is intuition. They didn't want to use I again, so they've used the second letter of intuition. There,
Yeah, sure.
there are some people who spell intuition like this all the time, which is just annoying to look at. So this is the only time in these slides where I'm using a capital N instead of an I. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
it's a perceiving function, right? So perceiving, intuition is perceiving, right?
Yeah.
Feeling is a judging function, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to very quickly go over what this means. So sensing is perceiving because
Yeah.
it's when you see things in your environment, right?
Yeah.
Um, so let's say, for example, like the poster example, right? I saw the poster, and then
Yeah.
let's say I used feeling, which is a judging function, to judge the poster. I'd think about how that poster makes people feel, right?
Yeah.
Like, if people like it, if they dislike it, if I like it, if I dislike it, that kind of thing, right? Well,
Okay.
thinking is more objective. Thinking is more like that poster's there. I'm trying to think of how I would describe that. Thinking is like is it does it is it has it been organized? Like is it meant to be there? Is it useful there? Or would it be
Yeah.
more useful to move that and put like a washing machine there, I don't know, or like a shelf? Would a shelf be more useful there? And it's thinking about the
Okay.
practical and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So thinking is thinking about the usefulness of things. Then intuition, I kind of skipped over intuition. Intuition is another perceiving function, right? These top two are both perceiving, these bottom two are both judging. So,
Yeah.
and perceive and intuition is like ideas, right? So
Okay.
it's like creating ideas. Like philosophy is a very intuition-y subject because they'll be thinking about like they'll be coming up with ideas on what they think matters, what doesn't matter, and kind of and I think I've kind of lost part of the point here, but it's also a bit like creativity, right? So
Yeah.
and recognizing patterns. Like if you were making a song, then intuition might be useful because it would help you come up with ideas for the lyrics, and it looks at possibilities a lot. So it would be like if you've got a word, then it would try and think of another word that rhymes with it or something like that. It's difficult to
Okay.
describe, but it's basically like ideas. Like ideas is probably the best explanation I can give for now before I've shown you the
Makes sense.
functions and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they're pretty vague in this form. It's pretty difficult to describe them properly.
No, I know. I mean,
Yeah. So this also means that since the perceiving functions are on this layer, and the judging functions are on this layer, that means that
yeah.
usually, not usually, always, in the second letter of an MBTI type is going to be their perceiving function, and the third is going to be their judging function. So I've got some examples of types here, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what INTP stands for?
So introverted, intuition, thinking, perceiving.
Yep. Can you do ENFJ?
Extroverted, intuition, feeling, judging.
Yeah, this is probably really easy because all of these are here. If I just quickly make it so you can't wait, hang on, I already did this. I don't need to do that again. I already
Oh,
made a slide for this. Okay. So what about if I got out ISTJ? What does that stand for?
introverted, sensing, thinking, and judging.
Yes, yes. Okay, so do you think you'll remember those words because they're really important?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So next, the cognitive functions. A cognitive function starts with an attitude, which is like the extroverted or introverted. Attitude is like the first letter, right? So
Okay. Yeah.
an E or an I, and it ends with a nature, I guess. I don't really know what the proper word for this is. You will not need to remember this word, it's not important, but um, like sensing, intuition, feeling, or thinking, right? So an example would
Yeah.
be extroverted sensing or introverted feeling, right? That kind of those, yeah?
Yeah.
They also have a shorthand, which everyone uses, because extroverted sensing is 9 syllables long, which is 8 syllables too long. Um,
Okay.
they switch them round. I guess it's because S is already a letter, so they can't really do ES. Although you
Okay.
don't pronounce this se, it's pronounced SE, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Maybe it just looked weird the other way around. So extroverted sensing is SE,
Yeah.
yeah? And introverted feeling is FI, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And all cognitive functions look a bit like that. So you can have NE, extroverted intuition, TI, introverted thinking, TE, like extroverted thinking, SI, introverted sensing. I'm getting quicker at drawing on here. Do you get the idea for this kind of thing?
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Yep. Um, I'm having the videos on here doesn't seem to be very useful because I keep flicking onto them and nothing happens. So I don't really, I don't know why we need these, but we'll keep them on here anyway. Um, this is the first type that I'm going to show you on here. ESFP.
Yeah.
I've made it look like there's an E there. There's not an. No, there is an E there, but it's not the. ESFP. The Entertainer. Right? So they all have names like this. Like they've all been named. The names
Okay.
the names aren't that important. Everyone will call it an ESFP instead, but the names can be
All right.
useful. Um, ESFP, right? So that's extroverted sensing, feeling, perceiving, right?
All right. Yeah.
I've got some examples of people with this type because the types represent different people, right? So I've got this is they all have avatars that are there as well. The avatars aren't really that important, but they're there, so I've included them for each one. This is the
All
ESFP
right.
avatar, right? This
Yeah.
this is Javad. This is the only picture I could find of him on my phone, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Miss Hume, I guess that is an example. Cristiano Ronaldo, JFK apparently.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like one, but apparently he is. And yeah, so I've included some examples for each one, so you can kind of get an idea of what they're like, right?
Yeah. 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 I understand. Okay.
ESFP. Oh, there's a thing there. ESFPs are very upbeat and energetic people. They're known for being bubbly and sometimes unhinged. Every type has a dominant function they use the most, also called their first or primary function. The ESFP's dominant function is SE, or extroverted sensing, right? So everyone
All
has
right.
one cognitive function that they use the most. Theirs is SE. And SE, extroverted sensing, is an extroverted function, which makes it expansive and wants more outside what it has. So it's like it's like directed outside, right? Like outside of the
Okay.
person. So like the
Yeah.
actual world. Whereas like introverted functions are more mental. Extroverted ones are more. I don't really know how else to put it. It's more expansive and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And it, it wants more outside of what it has, right? I think I've already said that actually. Since it's sensing, right, and sensing's all about what you can see and what's going on in the moment. It wants to have lots of experiences and stuff. Often successful sportsmen have
Uh,
SE, which is why Cristiano Ronaldo is here, and why Javad is here.
yes.
Maybe. No, it's just why Cristiano Ronaldo does it. um, so SE wants to do what it wants in the real world. It wants to explore experiences that are happening, right?
Yeah.
So like they're usually pretty sporty, energetic, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
SE. Oh, I've got SE in one word here as well, which I was adventuring. Yay. Um, I I don't think I have one word for any on any of the other slides. I must have just forgotten I was doing this, because I haven't done this for any other function. I don't think.
That's cool.
Every type also has an auxiliary or second function that they have, right? It's not nearly as well developed as their dominant function, but it's there. ESFP's auxiliary function is FI. FI, introverted feeling, will be gone into more detail later. For now, I'm going to summarize it as introspects and preferences, but that's an awful explanation. So I'm going to, basically, FI is a difficult one to explain. Which is why there are like slides dedicated to it later, and they were the slides that took me the longest to do because I kept getting it
Oh,
confused. So, but what FI is like is it's like the internal values someone has, which is what you will find on every site. They all just say values. I mean, it's not a very good summary, but it is a summary.
yeah.
FI tries to understand the person. FI is like trying to understand yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it can be like a sense of identity in people, right? SE is also a very social function. ESFPs love to connect with people, right?
Yeah.
Now I think we're moving on to the next
Makes
one.
sense.
Yep. Also, you might have noticed,
All right.
in the name ESFP, right? There's an S here, and its dominant function is SE, right? And
Dominant function always first two letters.
not it's not always the first two letters, but it in it's not always the first two letters, but it can be. Basically, these middle two letters, right?
Yeah.
They're the two top functions, right? So SEFI, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it can go the other way around. Sometimes their dominant function can be a judging function, right? So it's
All
not
right.
always the second one. But this E at the front is important as well, because as I said earlier, it stands for extroverted, but rather than meaning extroverted, it's kind of that what it actually means is that their dominant cognitive function is extroverted, right? Right?
Yeah.
Are you still alive?
Right.
Because you seem to be
Yes.
dying just now. That's good. Um, the so it starts with an E, which means its dominant cognitive function is extroverted, and these two are its two cognitive functions, which is SEFI, right?
Yeah.
The next one we've got INTJ, the mastermind. Ooh.
Oh.
Examples. Here's the avatar. He looks very like he would play a lot of chess. There's
Yeah.
Elon Musk. He's not been
Oh
stretched at
dear.
all. This is what he looks like in person. Ludwig van Beethoven. I have just been Googling these, by the way. Most, unless it's someone we actually know in real life, I'm just going to have found this off Google pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Jay-Z, he's a rapper. I don't know if you'll have heard of him or not, but apparently he's INTJ.
I know.
Sherlock Holmes. Socrates. And
Oh, okay. Okay.
INTJs are the wait, hang on. When I say Socrates, I don't mean like the Greek guy. I mean the well, he is Greek, but like the guy in our year. Do you know Socrates in our year?
Yeah. Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's good. INTJs are what's known as the opposite type to ESFPs. This happens when every individual letter is switched. INTJs are known for being cold, calculating, and future oriented, right? So they care a lot about the future, and they
Yeah.
and they're often pretty rational, right? They're usually good at chess. I had to add this. They're like good at strategy, that kind of thing. So chess is a good way
Hmm.
to remember them. Um, yeah. So if you see here, INTJ and ESFP, every single letter on there is switched, which is what makes them an opposite type, right?
Yeah.
It's not a useful fact, but it's a fact. I mean, their dominant function is NI. This is another function that I'll go into more detail about later. The best summary I can give for now is it's future oriented and strategic. Oh my god, it's nearly like I just said that. And also magic powers. It says that they have magic powers everywhere, so I've written magic powers. They don't actually have magic powers, but sometimes NI seems very mysterious to it makes it seem like they
All
do
right.
often. Okay. Socrates does
Ah,
not have
I
magic
see.
powers, but that's what
I didn't think so.
he that euphemism will make more sense later. Um,
Oh,
their auxiliary function is extroverted thinking. This function tends to rely on outside facts, as it observes the knowledge and logic of those around them, right? So like science and stuff. The This
yeah.
function demands structure and efficiency, right? So um,
Okay.
let's say every morning when you went out the door, you put a coat on, right? You wouldn't leave your coat
Yeah.
in like the kitchen or something, because then you have to go all the way to another room and back. You'd leave it like next to the door, because then you can put it on and then leave. That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to do. They're trying to optimize how quickly you can do stuff. Um,
Yeah.
it values hard work and is a practical kind of logic. Although it can
Okay.
understand more abstract things. Wait, no, that doesn't really make much sense, but I guess it's there. Um, it applies universal logic through different contexts, right? So,
Okay.
um, so, so it's like it's extroverted because it's kind of outside ideas, like it's outside things that work in different. It applies things that worked in different places to other places as well. So I'm trying to think of an example for that, and I don't really have one. Let's say like he worked at an office job, right? And this INTJ found that putting like he ran an office, right? He owned the office, and he found that putting
Yeah.
plants in the office rooms would increase the people's productivity, right? So it made them more efficient, and it was useful to have there, right? What they would then do is they can apply this to different situations. So let's say their like mum was cooking, I don't know, and
Yeah.
they might put a plant in that room, because they reckon if there wasn't one there, because they reckon that they'll cook faster if there's a plant there, right?
Oh, okay.
And sometimes that
Yeah.
kind of thing does work, to be fair. Um, and like extroverted thinking is usually good for businessmen and stuff. Uh, uh,
Okay.
and it doesn't really say here, but um, TE is extroverted thinking. I didn't write TE here, but it is TE. Um, it's also tends to be really practical. So it makes sure that it wants to make sure things go forward, right? Think of like a really bossy manager. He wants you to work. He doesn't want to like wait around and sit in a room. He wants you to like work on the computer or something. Like if you've got
Yeah.
like a let's say Mr. Morris told you to put a load of chairs away. Um, and you um you were just kind of sitting on one for a few minutes, and he would be like, he'd be mad because
Yeah.
you're not putting the chairs away, right? So they
Yeah.
want to make
Yeah.
sure things has direction, that things are going forward. Um, and yep. So that's INTJs. INTPs. This one might be slightly scuffed because during making these slides, I think all the definitions are correct now, but I think there was a bit of a mix-up with one of the INTP's functions, so something here might not be right, but I think it should be.
Okay.
Examples. Here's the avatar. Mark Zuckerberg. I could honestly just stop here. Mark Zuckerberg. This is INTP. This is what an INTP looks like. Everyone calls him a robot, and that's because that's basically what these types are kind of like, right? Like
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
like the socially awkward kind of robotic thinker people, if that makes sense. Well, they usually are. Like, oh, that I've got. What have I done? Here we go. Here we go.
Whoa.
No, you didn't see that. Um,
I
yeah,
think no.
yeah. And he's like a very extreme version of most INTPs. He's a, like, honestly, this guy needs a medal. Then Albert Einstein is an INTP. Daniel is an INTP because he's good at maths and stuff.
Okay.
I've said so I will need to put a bleep over that later. Miss Joseph, INTP. I
Yeah.
don't know why I could tell for Miss Joseph, but like I think it's the way that she's tired all the time.
Maybe.
That's kind of an INTP thing to do. Mumbo jumbo, because like red screen and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
INTPs are all about logic and try to make the world make sense. They're often very disorganized, as NE, extroverted intuition, is their auxiliary function, and they can be poor at socializing, so that they're like nerds. TI can make them good at coding, and they could often have good strategy because they endeavor to find out the exact way something works and can use this to their advantage. Right? So, let's say Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
If you had extroverted sensing, then to solve this kind of Rubik's Cube, you'd probably just kind of throw a lot of... Wait, no. If you used primarily extroverted intuition, right? So that's...
Yeah.
Extroverted intuition is like lots of ideas and lots of possibilities. If you use that to try and solve the cube, then you try and come up with lots of strategies and lots of tactics and that kind of thing. An INTP, the first thing they will probably do is they'll be like trying to open it up and see how this thing works. And then they want to understand literally everything about how this Rubik's Cube works before they try and come up with a strategy. And it doesn't help for a Rubik's Cube, but it does help for some things. But yeah, they're often like that.
Yeah.
They often get called the autistic type, but there are lots of types that could be called the autistic type. So most of the types could be called the autistic type if someone was really extreme for all of them, actually. Yeah. Moving on.
I guess so.
INTPs can understand abstract concepts as well as their logical TI, introverted thinking, is accompanied by extroverted thinking, which sort of lives in an abstract world. Maths is a very, very INTP subject because it's like completely disconnected logic and how you come up with
Yeah.
it's like abstract logic, so it's literally just TI and NE put together. So maths is just basically a very INTP kind of thing. Their first function is TI, introverted thinking. Introverted thinking is about figuring out how something works the way it works. At its fundamentals, MBTI is about breaking things down into what is always true and what is never true, and using a system of logic to make decisions. Right? Um, I'm. I don't want to come up with examples for literally everything, so I'm just. I thought that would be hard to come up with an
That's
example
fine.
for. I'm just not. NE, extroverted intuition, is an INTP's second function. NE is about seeing possibilities and what could be true, and is all about creating lots of ideas. What was that noise? I swear I just heard a really high pitch. Oh, you're moving your thing.
Yeah, I just have to make some changes with my camera real quick.
Yeah, because it sounded like a mouse squeaking. It was out of nowhere when you grabbed it. I don't know why.
Can you see me all right?
Yes. Why has my
Okay.
camera gotten a bit more blurry?
You go.
Can you see me all right?
I
Because it looks
yeah, I can see you all right.
it looks slightly blurrier on my computer. I don't know why. What's happened?
You look fine. Your
Okay.
camera looks fine from my point of view. I know.
I think I've zoomed it in by accident. I've zoomed it in further. Unzoom in. Okay, here we go. It still looks blurry for some reason, but that's fine. So yeah, NE,
This.
extroverted intuition, is an INTP's second function. NE is about seeing possibilities and what could be true, and is all about creating lots of ideas. On the next few slides, NE will be gone into more detail. So I think that upcoming soon, because I've told you a lot of stuff, I think at some point there'll
Yeah.
be a slide that's gonna like go over everything quickly again. Yeah. Okay, this isn't really the slide I thought it was, but sensing is a the slide I thought it was will come later actually. But sensing is a perceiving function. Sensing collects data through noticing what's going on in a physical reality, right? So if you have sensing, it will usually be grounded in that kind of way. Intuition is a perceiving function. Intuition collects data through creating patterns. It isn't grounded in physical reality, so it can be really abstracty. That's the definition I was trying to think of earlier, but because that's a pretty good
Oh,
definition
okay.
actually. Thinking is a judging function. Thinking evaluates data based on systems of logic. Feeling is
Yeah.
a judging function. Feeling evaluates data on how much it is valued. Um, Apparently, sometimes when you get deeper into the MBTI, these words don't work as well. I think especially feeling and thinking don't always work as well because
Okay.
you can be logical without having thinking. Because that sometimes feeling can be logical and sometimes thinking can be thinking about. I don't know how to put it, but sometimes these things are inaccurate. Um,
Yeah.
so these words aren't like concrete what they are. They're just the words that are used to describe the functions and stuff, right?
Okay.
Um, uh, so judging functions rely on data to evaluate, right? Because judging functions are judging things. They're perceiving functions are just seeing things, but judging functions are figuring out what's better, what's worse, uh, and what to do. Thinking itself can
That
only
makes
think abstractly if there's an intuitive function there.
okay.
I accidentally changed window. That I here we go. Ni magic. I don't know why I keep calling it magic. It's probably not very useful. Versus Ne ideas. They're both basically ideas. So this whole title is stupid. But ignoring that, Ni and Ne were the second hardest functions to tell apart for me because I found them quite tricky to tell apart. So I've written lots to try and make them easier to understand. Okay. So I think the next like two,
Yep.
possibly three slides are about Ne and Ni and the differences, right?
Do
Ne,
are you able to summarize this?
am I able to
There's a
what?
lot of information.
summarize it. I can summarize it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
probably don't need all of
please.
this information that's on here. There's such a lot of writing because it's quite hard to define specifically. So there's like lots of different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll try and see if I can summarize this well. Okay, I'm gonna summarize this. So if you're watching the video now, you can just pause it and you can read this slide if you care enough. But NE NE is like bouncing to different ideas, right? NE wants new stuff. It's
Yeah.
expansive ideas. It wants new ideas. So like, oh, I found a Rubik's cube. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna get really good at solving Rubik's cubes. Oh, I solved one. Look. Now I'm gonna move on. Oh, maths. That's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna do some maths. Learn calculus. Oh, I learned calculus. Yay. It just bounces off of lots of different ideas. It can be a bit chaotic, and it's why
Okay.
INTJs are known for having messy rooms because they have NE, and they can't be bothered to sort it out because they're always tired, like Miss Joseph. Um, uh, NI is I've described it as magic before. It's not magic. How it works is it's an introverted version of NE. So it thinks about what it already knows, and it tries to
Okay.
consolidate what it already knows to make a bigger idea. It's about a bigger picture. NI is usually future focused, and it's trying to build ideas. Um, it's trying to build up like big concepts and big ideas. Um,
Yeah.
like for example, whatever his name was, the composer that was on the INTJ, he probably wanted to see how his whole he wanted all of his composition to tie in, right? He wanted everything in the music to work
Yeah.
as a bigger music rather than each individual focusing on each individual instrument sounding good. He wants to focus on the whole music sounding good, right?
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I've probably said about as many sentences as what on here anyway. But yes, and this is another. This is quickly explaining another quick thing that NE and NI do. There's not as much text on the rest of the slides as the one previous one. Don't worry.
Okay.
NI is like a maze where the user is trying to navigate through to find a solution. So it's looking for one solution. There was one for NE2. I'll add that later if I remember. So, I think I found this metaphor on Reddit, and there was one for NE, but I couldn't find it again, so that's not on here. But I think NE's been described pretty well. Here's a diagram I found. Yep, this is useful. So NE, the starting point, it comes up with one. It hears about one idea. Then it comes up with lots of ideas based off that idea, and it broadens outwards. Um, it's like it's broad but shallow. And I
Yeah.
has lots of starting points, and it consolidates this to make one. So it makes one final product. All of these instruments are going to make one music. That
Yeah.
was awful grammar, but it made sense. Um,
Yeah.
Another famous, probably the most famous INTJ, well, for being an INTJ, I don't know, there might be more famous ones, but he's the most famous on there for, like, he's the example people will think of when they think of INTJs. Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
his dominant function was introverted intuition, right? So
Yeah.
and how he worked was he got all the clues, right? So all the clues were all the starting points on that diagram, and he's trying to
Yeah. That makes.
consolidate them into one big picture. And I think NI sometimes works so that it's like, you've been sitting like that for quite a while. Is that why? Yeah. So, I, yeah, these ideas sometimes that he's trying to find the bigger picture, right? But sometimes
Yeah.
he's more his auxiliary function is TE, right? And it's about organization and
Okay.
structure and that kind of thing. So, but
Yeah.
one thing it can also do is when everything's organized and everything's fine, um, he kind of, and he's more calm. Like for example, he played Sherlock Holmes has a lot of hobbies. He plays a violin.
Yeah.
Um, he
Yeah.
sometimes he walks out on the in like a natural place. Sometimes he like smoked,
Yeah.
and usually when he was most relaxed, the ideas just came to him, right? Because his
Yeah.
when he was relaxed enough, the ideas all just kind of came together. So like NI is kind of like shower thoughts in that way, but um yeah, so that's how that works. Hopefully, what have I done? Um, you can still see it, right? Have I broken something?
Yeah.
Uh,
No.
nope, that looks all good. Wait, hang on, I'll quickly check this. Yep, nope, it's all good. So, hopefully, the Sherlock Holmes analogy wasn't too confusing and not sense making.
Can I try to explain it? And you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, so extroverted introvert. Wait, no. Extroverted intuition, or like NE,
Hmm.
is like in the case of a detective, they see one thing and they think, and the ending points are like, oh, this, or this could have happened, or this, and this could be an effect of that. And
Yep. Yep.
then, and then introverted intuition, or like Sherlock Holmes, he sees smaller things and goes, this makes one thing and one thing only.
Yep. That is perfect. You have been
Yeah?
listening. That's
Okay.
good. That's really good. So
Yeah.
you understand NI and NE now. Yeah, exactly like you said. NE, when they're a detective, they'll be like looking at this, and they're like, oh, there's a Rubik's cube here. It could mean that they like Rubik's cubes, or maybe they just wanted one and they're just strategically minded, or maybe it was just a hobby, or maybe. But NI will see lots of little things like Rubik's cube and TV remote, and they'll be like, oh, they've got a Rubik's cube and a TV remote. That combines into one thing, because and the connection is that he uses this uses this Rubik's cube and is a fan of it and watches the tournaments on the TV. That's an awful connection, but
Yeah.
so if you were the
Maybe
worst
maybe he
detective on
saw it
earth,
on the
you'd have
TV
that.
and wanted it.
What? Sorry. What did
Maybe
you?
he saw it on the TV and wanted it.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it can think of different possibilities, but it tends to consolidate. Yep, exactly like you said. Move on.
Okay.
I'm gonna ignore that. How to know the
All right.
cognitive functions from the type. In a type,
Okay.
the I or E indicates if their first function is extroverted or introverted. Like, yeah. So, assuming it's extroverted, the P or J chooses if it's the perceiving function or the judging function. For example, ESTP's first function is extroverted because it starts with an E, because it's an ESTP, and the P indicates that it's a perceiving function, because it's ESTP, and the perceiving functions are always the second letter, S for sensing, right? So it's
Yeah.
extroverted, and it's the perceiving function, and the perceiving function is the S, right? So that's the dominant function is
Yeah.
SE, right?
Yeah.
The so an ESTP's dominant function is extroverted sensing, SE.
Yeah.
I don't seem to have explained how to get the other function, but when you have one extroverted function,
I think I understand the other function. I
right?
think I understand it.
So how do you find the other
I
function? What's an ESTP's second function?
Okay, so wait, an ESTP. Hold on. One sec. So ESTP. What did we decide the first function was?
You should know. Figure it out. Figure it out.
It's SE, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the secondary function would be um TI.
That is correct. What? How did
Yes.
you get to that? How did you get to that?
Okay. So like before it was SE, which is the perceiving function, and the first like the first function is extroverted, right?
Yeah.
So for the secondary function, it's the opposite of extroverted,
Yep.
and it's the judging function.
That's a that. Good job. Good job. Good job. Um,
Yay!
you got it right. That is. There are lots of different
Yeah,
ways of using the letters. Like there are lots of different methods of using them to find the cognitive functions. So, but you've come up with one
yeah,
now, so and it works for you. So use that. Yep. And it
yeah,
is also pretty much the right way of doing it anyway. Like it's the way I use. So yeah.
yeah. This all sort of just came together in my head.
Yeah. So ignore the introverts for now. Try it out on ENFJ. Okay. So on ENFJ, I've got a diagram up here. Um, Figure out what their dominant function is and what their auxiliary function is. You should probably be really good at this for the MBTI. It's going to be really useful.
Okay, so wait for ENTJ.
ENFJ at top right. It's around where my red dot is.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. Yeah.
There
Um,
are some words there to help you if you want. I don't know if you can read them though from your phone.
it's okay. It's okay. Um, so it's gonna be FE,
That is correct.
right?
That is their dominant function. Yep, yep.
And then the secondary function or the auxiliary function is going to be NI.
Yes, you're getting it. You're getting it.
Yo,
You're
I
actually
got it. I got.
really fast at this. That's good. You're a very quick
I'm,
learner at
I'm,
this.
I'm cooking.
You're cooking. Cold, cold. Um, ENTJ.
ENTJ. Um, so it's going to be TE for the dominant function,
Yep,
and then NI for the secondary function.
yep.
Nice.
ENTP.
Okay, that's going to be NE
Yep,
and then TI.
yep. Don't do these two yet. Because this note at the bottom is quite useful. On an introverted type, I'm not going to explain why for now, but the J is perceiving and the P is judging. Because actually
Oh,
no, I will
just
explain why. The reason this is here is because an
yeah.
introverted type has to have their first function as introverted. And the previous system
Oh,
wouldn't work for them, right?
yeah.
So so you could do it actually exactly like you were with the extroverts, but switch
Yeah.
round the second and first functions, right? Try ISFJ.
Oh, so okay, ISFJ. So hold on.
Wait, no, my explanation didn't
So
really work. I've just been looking at it the way you would, and you would have probably got the wrong functions.
wait,
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 no.
wait, 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 wait,
So
wait, wait,
use
wait.
this explanation at the
Let
bottom
me
of.
try it. Let me try it.
Okay, I'll let you try. I'll let you try.
Let me try it. Let me
I'll,
cook.
I'll let you. I'll let you cook.
So the primary function is SI, and the secondary one is FE.
Yes, yes. I didn't even need to explain it
Yo,
properly. Yes, he
yo.
just knows.
I cooked. I cooked. I just know. I just know.
Okay, INFP. I want to make sure that you're good at this. For now.
Okay.
Although you'll have loads of
Primary
chances in the
function.
future.
Is FI.
Yes.
Secondary function is ME.
Yes. Love that.
Oh, I cooked. We love that.
Love that. Okay, so the next slide. There are actually four functions, by the way. Um, so
What?
there are four functions per type, right? But it's easy because you can
Yeah.
find it out from the first two, right? So the
Okay.
so INTP is my example. Their dominant or auxiliary are TI and NE, right?
Yeah.
And a third and fourth function, right? The third function is called the tertiary function, and the fourth function
Okay.
is called the inferior function. And how you find
Yeah.
them is the inferior one is the opposite of the dominant one, right? So if you switch both the letters of TI, you get FE.
Yeah.
And then the
Okay.
tertiary is the opposite of the auxiliary. So if you switch around NE, you get SI, right? I It
Yeah.
says, and these are the examples here, but instead of doing these, I'm going to quickly go back here and write down the ones you got for each one, right? So for this
Yeah.
one, oh wait, no, actually, no. What I'm going to do is on this slide, I'm going to write down their first two functions, and you'll have to find out their second two. Okay, so an INTJ has NITE. Can you find the third and fourth functions?
Okay.
I'm just going to
So hold
write them
on.
for the
So
other
the
ones as
third
well.
function, um, T. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. FI. Wait. For the third function of INTG, is it F? Oh, INTJ, is it FI?
It is FI.
Okay. 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 I got this. I got this. I got this. Okay. And then the fourth function, hmm, it's PE.
Wait, what was
Is
that?
that com
Did you say PE? Wait, sorry, I don't think I
No,
heard you right.
my bad. My bad. Is it SE?
It is SE.
Oh, yo.
Yo, he's so good. You
Wait,
are
so the
actually Maya Brigg himself.
real. Wait,
Yeah.
so is ISFP, are the third function's going to be NI and the fourth is going to be TE?
Yes, yes. You've got it. You've got it. Okay. I'm gonna do go. We're gonna do
Yo.
the other examples as well, right? Anyway, even though you've got it,
Mm,
ESFP.
okay. Mm, mm. So TE, the third,
Yep.
and NI.
Yes.
Yo, I'm cooking, bro.
You are cooking. And the last one. The
Uh,
last one.
uh, hmm. Hold on. SE for the third,
Yes.
and TI for the fourth.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, so you are a Brig now. Love that.
yo. Okay,
No one
I
calls
think
them Briggs, by the way.
I think
Don't start
this
calling people
stop.
Briggs. What did you?
I will not. I will not.
Were you about to say
I
something?
think this is a good place to end it.
We can end it here if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.